Hey guys, what's going on? It's Eli, back with another review video. And yes, as I teased in the last review video, you read the title, you know exactly what it is that I'm reviewing. This movie, featuring Billy Bob Thornton playing the king of the wild frontier himself, Davy Crockett. I mean, it's not just about Davy Crockett, okay? This movie that, it's the story about what actually happened and which Davy Crockett was a part of, and where he tragically was executed by who he and the rest were fighting against and defending this one place, and also Texas and so on. They were defending it from the Mexican army. That's right, guys. I am reviewing from 2004, and seeing as how it's celebrating its anniversary, and, this being uploaded the day it's celebrating its anniversary. The Alamo. Yes, The Alamo from 2004. I gotta say, for me, The Alamo, I quite enjoyed it. I didn't think it was that bad. I know that when this came out, it got mixed reviews. It did get some negative reviews, but there are those, like me, that did enjoy this. I even seen, like on its IMDb page, what some reviewers had to say. Yeah, it is sad that, this unfortunately didn't do that good, and it wasn't a huge success, but, I mean, it really isn't god-awful. It's really not a bad movie adaptation of the events of the Alamo. Now, a little background, and before I get to the story / the description, because, Disney, well, they're no stranger to doing anything Davy Crockett. Most notably, in the 1950s, there was Davy Crockett on TV of, The Wonderful World of Disney. I mean, it went through so many different names, like, I think, it was first called Walt Disney's Disneyland, and Davy Crockett being portrayed by the late Disney legend himself, Fess Parker, having 3 episodes. One about the Indian War, Crockett going to Congress, and the third one about him, at the Alamo. And after those 3 episodes, later on, there would be 2 more stories where Davy and his partner Georgie Russell would be tangling with Mike Fink, King of the River, and which, because it had to do with the river pirates. And after that, fast forward in the 1980s, Disney would once again do something else Davy Crockett. That was called, and it was a TV movie. That's when it was, called The Wonderful World of Disney. And it was called Davy Crockett Rainbow in the Thunder. And Davy Crockett in that, Davy Crockett was portrayed by Tim Dunnigan, I think I might have gotten the last name right, and Johnny Cash, the Johnny Cash. He was in this, and he played Elder Davy Crockett. Now, that's pretty cool. Yeah, so there was that. And then, fast forward, in the early 2000s, Disney would once again do something else that had to do with Davy Crockett, and with Davy Crockett, the events of the Alamo. They would do their own movie adaptation of that under the Touchstone Pictures logo, etc. Like I said, when it came out, it wasn't that much of a huge success, like I said, and, there were those that enjoyed it, but those just, If I remember correctly, because I read that there were some things that I guess they didn't do correctly in this movie. Well, I mean, not every biopic film is gonna do things correctly that happened in reality, but, hey, as long as there are changes in biopic films, they should always be done in the right way, and they should make sense, okay? And for me, watching The Alamo, well, I mean, I didn't see anything wrong with it. Nothing that bothered me or anything like that. And also, there was another movie adaptation of The Alamo, I believe, 1960, where the late legendary John Wayne played Davy Crockett. So there's that one. And also, not to mention, because for the 2004 Alamo film, Ron Howard was originally gonna direct this, and Russell Crowe was considered to play the role of Sam Houston. But unfortunately, Ron Howard and Disney, they had a huge disagreement on the movie's budget, and thus Ron Howard, he would still stay on the movie, but as a producer. For the director of the Alamo, they brought in John Lee Hancock, and John Lee Hancock would go on to direct other films that happened in reality, based off of true stories, biopics, etc. Like, he would go on to direct Saving Mr. Banks and The Founder, where Michael Keaton plays the titled character, The Founder, which, has to do with McDonald's and so on. Yeah, I almost forgot that John Lee Hancock, the same guy who did Saving Mr. Banks, he also did The Founder and The Alamo. That's pretty cool. You have those moments where you realize, oh my gosh, that guy directed this and that? Well, I mean, take, for example, Ridley Scott. Look at what he's directed. Yeah, I'm sure there are those, and maybe some of you that were there, realizing, oh my gosh, he did that, and so on. But anyways, all right, so now, as always, read the description / the story. In 1836, General Sam Houston organizes a rebel army to liberate Texas from the brutal rule of Mexican dictator General Santa Anna. I think I got that right. Though vastly outnumbered, General Houston's volunteer army includes such folkloric figures as Jim Bowie and Davy Crockett. As Santa Anna's forces advance on San Antonio, the legendary general and his men prepare for a final heroic standoff at a battle-worn mission called The Alamo. Okay, so the film itself, I don't know where to begin, because, so much that happens, and, if you know the story to what happened in the 1800s and, with the events of the Alamo and with what happened and how they did, like, those that were at the Alamo, they did lose, but eventually, because the Mexican army led by Santa Anna, they did lose, in which, that being at the end of the film. Again, because I think this movie adaptation of The Alamo, from 2004, I think it did its very best with, what it told with the events of The Alamo. And again, even though there were some things, and again, from what I've heard, like, they didn't get right and such, still, and like I said, it's interesting how this movie opens, because I've kind of seen this in some movies, because it opens because the aftermath of what happened at the Alamo, and we see Sam Houston being played by Dennis Quaid. He portrays Sam Houston, and he and everybody else, his army, because if I remember correctly, they wanted to send more men to, help and defend the Alamo, but Sam Houston told them to stay put and such where they're at. Because word is spread that they were killed. Those at the Alamo were killed and such. And, of course, Sam hearing this, and we get glimpses of, the dead bodies at the Alamo. And then we fade to 1 year earlier, before the events of the great battle at the Alamo. And again, because, you know, we see Sam Houston, of course, and all the others, and who would participate and be a part of, you know, defending the Alamo and such, and, you know, Texas as well, altogether. Yeah, and with the cast of characters, because we, of course, have, again, Sam Houston being portrayed by Dennis Quaid, Davy Crockett, King of the Wild Frontier, being portrayed by Billy Bob Thornton, as I said. James Bowie being portrayed by Jason Patrish, if I'm saying the last name right. Again, you know me sometimes. William Travis being portrayed by Patrick Wilson, which, fun fact, this was Patrick Wilson's film debut, and from there on, because he would become a big name, so... especially being a part of the Conjuring films. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. And there's also June Sigoon, if I'm even saying the full name right, being portrayed by Jordi Mala. And there's Sergeant William Ward being portrayed by Leon Rippey, and and a couple of others. And also, Captain Alamoran Dickinson, being portrayed by Stephen Broughton, and his wife Susanna Dickinson being portrayed by Laura Clifton. Yeah, I know the name Laura Clifton. And also because with Davy Crockett being at this party, as well as Sam Houston and others, again, who would participate and join in the Alamo, like Davy Crockett, like, he attends to this, like, this show where Davy Crockett is being betrayed and having the coonskin hat and so on. And, well, there are a couple of times where we do see Billy Bob Thornton as Davy Crockett wearing the coonskin hat. Of course, you know, have to have the coonskin hat, you know, because it's Davy Crockett. So, and also because there's an explanation as to why he doesn't wear the coonskin hat all the time, and in this film, so we don't see him that much wearing the coonskin hat, so yeah. And also William Travis's wife, Rosanna Travis, being betrayed by Emily Deschanel, and best known for being in the show Bones, that's her. Because for William, unfortunately, he is gonna be, away from his family for quite a while, and he hopes that he can be reunited with them and to see his son's educational, like, I guess, graduating school or whatever, and when he gets back to his family, you know, they'll have a brand new home and such, at least he thinks, because what happens, you know, later on in the film for poor William. And there's also other characters that, you know, I'll also mention, like there's Colorado Smith being portrayed by Blue Deckert, and Sam, just named Sam, being portrayed by Afimo Ami, if I'm even saying that right, and Joe being portrayed by Edwin Hodge. Yeah, because there were two black characters, and they were there at the Alamo, and especially because, you know, one of them was helping out James Bowie, because let's come to James Bowie, because his portrayal in this, I don't know, because it didn't bother me, in fact, because everybody in the film and how they portrayed all these historical figures, these actual people, I think they did a pretty good job, definitely. I mean, especially because the two top stars, Dennis Quaid and Billy Bob Thornton, them portraying Sam and Crockett, not bad at all. And fun fact, because Billy Bob Thornton said that if there was anything he wanted to relive, it would be this, a job that he had, Arkansas, if I'm even saying that right, and being in Bad Santa. Because, well, those were the highlights of his life, and I don't blame him. That's understandable. So with James Bowie, and William Travis, there's like a beef between them and a huge grudge, I should also say, over leadership. And Sam Houston, he gave the command to William Travis, to lead those at the Alamo. And yeah, James, I think, because he wanted to take that position. And also we find out later on in the film, because James Bowie, he starts to get sick slowly, and, the possibility of him dying because of alcoholism. Yeah. Well, and because at the Alamo, and obviously this happened in reality, James Bowie, he was in bed most of the time, and especially because when the big battle took place, he was not feeling well, and, he remained in bed. And just like what, Davy Crockett in the 1950s, what they did, and how they portrayed James Bowie in that. The late Kenneth Tobey, him playing the role of James Bowie, and, well, him being in bed and such, and just like what was in the third and final episode where, Davy Crockett is at the Alamo, and this, well, because James Bowie, he knew that he was pretty much going to die, he still wanted to take down, a couple of the Mexican soldiers and who were about to break into his room. So, yeah, nice to see. Also, those who attended to James Bowie, well, yeah, one of the black guys, but also a lady who was, trying to mend and, take care of James, because patting water, I guess, and such, the lady has a sister, and she being in a romantic relationship with James Bowie, I think, yeah, because they had already been married and such. So, yeah, not to mention, because James has a picture of her, because in, like, one of those, like, necklaces, yeah, so... Also, like, other characters that I didn't mention, like, there's also James Bonham. I don't think I mentioned him already. Being portrayed by Mark Blucas. I think I got that right. Colonel Green Jameson being portrayed by Tom Davidson. And then there's Mecca Turi, if I'm saying that right, being portrayed by Kevin Page. John Stevens portrays Miles Scurlock. I think I might have got that right. Yeah, so other things in the movie, because there's some pretty good, like, action scenes, and with the fights and the battles, and also some pretty good dialogue. There's some pretty good dialogue in this movie. Most notably, some good dialogue and speeches coming from, say, Davy Crockett and William Travis. And it's nice to see, because Davy Crockett, him mentioning and talking about, well, when he was involved in the Indian War, and when he went to Congress, etc., and, it's really cool. And, of course, after those two things, well, he would end up in Texas and being a part of defending Texas and the Alamo altogether. Also, yeah, because let's talk about the main antagonist, Antonio Lopez de Santa Anna, being portrayed by Emilio Varia, might have gotten that right, probably. Again, you know me sometimes. Yeah, I mean, he's a pretty good villain, and how he's portrayed in this, and, the Mexican army, because, yeah, I think there are times where they are speaking English, but, most of the time, because there is subtitle texts on what they're saying, and what Antonio Lopez is planning to do, and to take down the rebels, and those defending Texas, and the Alamo and such, and, them doing brutal things, and, because they were vicious and so on, golly, and stuff with Antonio Lopez de Santa Anna, because, like, I recall, like, there's this one moment where he's about to get in bed with a young girl. Oh my gosh. Like, those kind of villains, I tell ya. And other moments, and some pretty good moments, that I think, because a lot of times where Davy Crockett is playing the violin, and another fun fact, Billy Bob Thornton, he learned to play the violin while while working on this movie, and where it was required for him to play the violin. And I think, yeah, Billy did a pretty good job and did the best he could, because playing the violin. Because, yeah, at times he's playing the violin, and especially there's one moment where, because there are times where the Mexican army does not go in to attack and such. You know, a couple of times they were playing music and such, you know, because with the trumpets and the drums, and Davy Crockett joining in and playing his violin to, you know, how they're playing and such. And yeah, that was pretty cool. I think, yeah, some of the Mexican soldiers, they did kind of smile at that. So, hey, because, you know, at least for each of them, enjoying a bit of music and such, you know. And even, like, say, when, you know, before the big battle happens, you know, a couple of times where the Mexican soldiers, you know, were coming in to attack, and some of them, like, just firing their guns and such, and how Davy Crockett's so good with his aim, you know, got one of them, I guess, like, shot one of them by the shoulder, and how Davy Crockett came face-to-face with a couple of them, and how there was one young Mexican soldier, and how he was just on the ground and crawling, and he looked at Davy Crockett, and Davy Crockett, you know, asking, you know, what's your name, young man, etc., and didn't get to say anything because he died. And I can tell, because Davy Crockett felt so bad for that. And I think, yeah, the same went for William Travis, because, you know, clearly I can tell because he witnessed it. So, you know, and because Davy Crockett felt bad and such, well, everybody at the Alamo, because when he comes back in the Alamo, everybody's just cheering and praising him and such. And yeah, because what this movie does, it's nice to see, because, you know, it's like everybody, because, well, yeah, because they know the name Davy Crockett. Even the Mexican army, they know who Davy Crockett is. Even, like, some of them, they don't want to kill Davy Crockett, which we see very later on the film. Because, yeah, this is Davy Crockett we're talking about. You know, king of the wild frontier, taking down a bear when he was only 3. So much that Davy Crockett has done. And also because when Davy Crockett brought up about, you know, when he was in the Indian War and when he went to Congress, this is in the movie where he said, before coming to Texas, he told the Congress and such, you know, you can go to hell, and I'm going to Texas. Yeah, it's in the movie. That's cool to see, because best said by Davy Crockett, because what he said to them, you know, I'm going to Texas, and you can go to hell. So, nice. And by the way, another fun fact during the making of this movie, because it's kind of funny. Local news sent out choppers to, you know, shoot them filming the Alamo and such, and it was causing disturbances, I mean, for the crew and such. It's understandable. And the crew was told, I think, yeah, the crew and the cast were told to give them the finger. And they did give them the finger. They gave the choppers the finger and such, and of course, that with them doing that caused the choppers and the local news channels not to use the footage. Well, because they, you know, the cast and crew knew what they were doing, because they weren't going to put up with it. And besides, like, you know, with movies like say Marvel and Star Wars, well, they are very good at keeping, you know, when they're filming, like like whenever there's a Marvel or something Star Wars being filmed and shot on closed sets, and yeah, not being disturbed, no risks of spoilers or anything like that. You get what I'm saying? See, yeah, because I mean, you know, for those that were doing the Alamo, well, because they were outside, so what else could they do? So of course, the whole movie taking place outside, and the locations that they were at filming the Alamo. So, and not to mention, because the residents of Texas were actually, yeah, if I remember correctly, because yeah, they were the extras that were playing the civilians were actual civilians of Texas and such, and they were they were relatives of, those that defended the Alamo and so on. Yeah, and if you know about that, that's pretty cool. Also, something I'd like to point out, and it never occurred to me while watching the movie, but until now, because the Alamo, and I'm not sure about any other like movie or TV adaptations aside from Davy Crockett in the 1950s. For the 2004 Alamo film, did not have Georgie Russell, Davy's partner, nor say the one guy who in the 1950s Davy Crockett TV episodes, and in episode 3, where Davy Crockett goes to the Alamo, the one guy who was portrayed by Hans Connery, yeah, he wasn't in it either, because from him, Russell, and also there was an Indian man that was with them too that went to the Alamo. Yeah, the three of them were not there because, well, they were clearly there at the Alamo, but in the 2004 Alamo film, they're not there at all. I mean, I'm not really complaining about it. I mean, because in the Alamo film, yeah, it worked fine without including them in. But at the same time, it leaves you wondering, because no doubt about it that they were actually there with Davy Crockett, and they, too, were defending the Alamo and Texas, and until they sadly got killed. Yeah, just them not being in it, again, I'm not complaining, I'm just saying, and I thought I'd point that out. And if any of you realized that as well, and thought of the same thing too, like me. So, anyways, so continuing on with the film, because, yeah, a lot of intense and, sometimes there are funny moments and a lot of emotional stuff to it for sure. And at times where, we cut back to Sam Houston and, just arguing with those and, just trying to win Texas and for it to be a part of the United States and such. And again, because Sam is not going to have any other men, go to the Alamo because, to get more men and such, because, not that many men, defending the Alamo and such. And even like, say, Juan, I think, yeah, that's him. Yeah, I'm right, Juan, because, he was there at the Alamo, but then went back and, because it was with the others and Sam, and he made a promise, to go back to the Alamo and such, and Sam ordering him to just stay here with him and the others and so on. And, well, because even though, Juan really wanted to go back still, because what Sam ordered him to do, and so on. Also, because there was a moment, because, like I said, some good dialogue and speeches from some of the characters in the film, from Davy Crockett and William Travis. One sequence with William Travis, because him giving him a speech, because as the big battle is getting near/close, William gives a speech to all of those at the Alamo, because, to keep it short and to put it this, because, if they want to leave, and with, mentioning the white surrendering flag and so on, they can go. And if anybody wants to stay, then, stay. And nobody, walks out the door or anything like that. And you can tell, because, no, they are staying, and even though they're most likely to die, they'll do whatever it takes to defend Texas and the Alamo. And, yeah, and let's come to the big battle, because one evening, everybody was asleep, and little did they know, and while they were sleeping, and Davy Crockett, he was barely awake. I mean, he didn't really fall asleep, so he was he was kind of dozing off, I guess. I mean, he was trying to still stay awake. Hey, at least somebody, has to keep awake, because you never know what could happen, especially for those at the Alamo. Little did they know, because, well, the Mexican army was right out there, and kind of eerie, because, like a couple of shots where there are so many soldiers, and clearly they don't stand a chance, even if they did. And, of course, like, a couple of those Mexican soldiers stabbing those who are outside of the Alamo up until, well, because when they realize and they wake up that, well, they're right there, all hell breaks loose, and those in the Alamo, they were not prepared for that. The Mexican army had something planned up their sleeves this time. And obviously, because that happened in reality, and well, just like how other adaptations of the Alamo, including in the 1950s on Walt Disney's Disneyland in episode 3, because the Mexican army, for sure, they got them, because, you know, just sneaking up on them and going in for the attack and without them being prepared. And of course, the big battle takes place, cannons being fired at, and yeah, because, you know, even early on, because, you know, cannonballs were being fired at, even, there was one moment where one cannonball was fired at, but it didn't go off, and William Travis, risking his life to, you know, to stop it from blowing up, he does so, and, you know, it's a good thing he survives from that. Well, they launch it back at them, and, well, because they got, like, it's like the Mexican army got a taste of their own medicine with the cannonball they shot. And they shot it back at them. Anyways, so yeah, with the big battle, because, you know, explosions, cannonballs, everything, just, and, you know, one by one, those at the Alamo getting killed. And especially, like, there was one young Mexican soldier, you know, he was a boy, and he looked like he was about, like, 15 or 16, I want to say, you know, and he did get a kill. He did kill one of them, and he killed William Travis. Yeah, because clearly you knew that everybody at the Alamo was going to die, and yeah, but it's still sad. It's still sad. And William Travis being one of the, like, major characters in this film to get killed. It's really sad, and it's unfortunate because, well, William Travis did not get to reunite with his family, and like what he said early on the film, that he would reunite with his family, his wife, his son and daughter, and seeing his son, you know, complete his education and having a new home. None of that could happen, because no longer. It's a shame. And everybody else, because, you know, getting killed and such, and, well, because, and, you know, there's also a couple of moments between Captain Almiron Dickinson and his wife, Susanna, because, you know, a couple of civilians, including family, they're in the Alamo, and they're just hiding and so on, and, yeah, a sad moment where, you know, he checked on his wife, Susanna, and that would be the last time he, you know, would see her. And yeah, of course, unfortunately, he gets killed. And we do cut to Susanna, and it's like, you can tell, and she can sense that, well, her husband died, and which he did, being killed, and all the others getting killed and such. And, you know, a few that survived, including Davy Crockett, because Davy Crockett was one of the last surviving members at the Alamo, and, you know, Davy Crockett, he knew that they were losing. They knew that they were losing, because so many of soldiers coming in, and, you know, them trying to prevent the Mexican soldiers, you know, from getting in the Alamo, couldn't stand a chance, because they were just coming in, and they were getting into the Alamo, and those at the Alamo doing their very best to kill them, and just still trying to defend and, you know, save Texas and the Alamo. And when there's only a few left, including Davy Crockett, because, yeah, that moment where, you know, they'll still fight them, but they're not gonna make it. And even we do see James Bowie, because, yeah, later on for James Bowie, because when he got sick and he was put to bed, yeah, a couple of moments where I think, yeah, things were kind of patched up between James and William, and a couple of moments between James and Davy Crockett. Even Davy Crockett gave James a couple of weapons and to prepare James, and that was nice to see. And yeah, because when some of the Mexican soldiers are breaking down the doors into James's room, well, he had his weapons prepared, and, you know, even though he knew he was going to die, he still took down a couple of them with those weapons, and he was trying to reach for a knife, but of course, he still got killed, he got stabbed and such, even because a couple of shots where we see his hand just barely touching, you know, the picture of his beloved woman, you know, with the necklace, chain, that kind of thing. That you know, because those necklaces with, you know, it has a picture of someone, you know, those, and how blood was dripping. Oh my gosh, it's sad and just devastating. And then the next day after the big battle, you know, took place and it was finished, well, Davy Crockett, being the last remaining survivor of the Alamo, and, well, because all of the Mexican soldiers surrounding him, and, of course, Antonio Lopez, because he was there and he was witnessing the battle far away from the Alamo and such, and, yeah, because him coming face-to-face with Davy Crockett asking him, you know, are you Santa Anna? And, you know, Santa's response just, you know, not, you know, putting his head down, nodding his head, I should say, and Davy Crockett saying, you know, I thought you would be taller. So, yeah, I mean, for leaders and, you know, generals and such, you think that they would be tall. I mean, hey, because Napoleon was short, and not to mention Napoleon was mentioned a couple of times. Yeah, because I think, yeah, Sam Houston, he mentioned Napoleon. So, yeah. And Davy Crockett, like, telling this one guy, you know, to tell Santa, you know, that Davy Crockett is basically saying that, you know, they will surrender and they just, you know, want to make peace and so on. But the guy who is translating for Santa, you know, tells him the opposite and such, saying that, you know, lying to him and saying that, you know, Davy wants them to surrender. And, well, they were just about to execute Davy, but a couple of those, like I said, they didn't want Davy to be killed and such. They begged Antonio Lopez to, you know, just don't kill Davy Crockett. And like I said, because, you know, this is Davy Crockett we're talking about, and yeah, but it's unfortunate because what happens next is, of course, it was, you know, it had to happen, and what happened in reality, and because Santa Anna, he gives the order to kill him and stab him, and one of Davy Crockett's last words is, you know, I'm a good screamer, and, you know, Davy just letting it out, and, well, that's the end of Davy Crockett, because him being executed, being stabbed. But it's not over yet, because, you know, we continue on, and now all that's left is Sam Houston and, you know, also Juan Sagan, if I'm saying the name right, Foley, them and the rest of the men, and those who wanted to help all the others that were at the Alamo, and how, you know, they were all that was left, and to take on the Mexican army and Santa Anna, because them just walking and, you know, camping and such, and up until, well, because they come face to face with the Mexican army, and this time they take on and defeat the Mexican army, because they get them, and we even see, because the Mexican army is running away, retreating and such, and boy, did Sam and his men, were they good at taking them on, because, you know, more men, and with how many was left in the Mexican army, and near the end of the film, because we see some subtitle texts, you know, and like in some biopic films, like The Aftermath and so on, because basically the Mexican army was defeated in 18 minutes, and, you know, they want to see, they of course have, you know, what's left of the Mexican army held hostage, as well as Santa Anna. And for Santa Anna, they want to see him be hunged and such. But for Sam, he'll spare him, but still, because he'll need his blood and so on. And well, because what happens next is, eventually, the Mexican army is finally defeated, and Texas became one of the 28, members of the United States and so on, one of the countries of the United States, and, forcing the Mexicans to, give the rights to Texas to them and so on, and how Juan kept his promise. He returned to the Alamo, and he buried all of his friends and those at the Alamo, where they're buried at today. Yeah, and one of the last things before the movie ends is we once again see Davy Crockett playing the violin, and we then cut to a shot of the Alamo, fades to black, and that's how the movie ends. That's a nice way for it to end. And I actually have kind of seen that before, how the Alamo ended, and it's been in a couple of films, yeah. So I could think of, say, I don't know, I mean, it popped in my head, and it's kind of an example, like La Bamba. The very last shot of the movie is, seeing Richie and his brother running on a hill, and yeah, so, that being an example, because, getting one last shot of someone who sadly died, we would see him one last time before the movie ends. You know what I mean? So, yeah. So again, how the Alamo ended was pretty good. The Alamo. Again, just, this was a pretty good movie adaptation of the events and the story of the Alamo and what happened when those were defending Texas and the Alamo, and with Davy Crockett being there at the Alamo and so on. I think this movie adaptation of the Alamo that Disney and Touchstone Pictures did, not bad at all. Again, it's not the best, it's not a huge success, it's not the best, movie adaptation of, the story of the Alamo, but, it did its best, and, it is what it is, and, there are those, like myself, that enjoyed it. The story was pretty good, the characters and those who portrayed, those in reality, again, from Billy Bob Thornton as Davy Crockett, Dennis Quaid as Sam Houston, Jason Patrish as James Bowie, Patrick Wilson as William Travis, the list goes on. And, well, Emilio playing the main antagonist, Santa Anna. Again, just, yeah, the entire cast, they did a pretty good job. The music was good, too. Some funny moments, and the emotional moments, the intenseful moments, the action, the battles, especially the epic battle in the third act of the film. Yeah, just everything about it, pretty good. And, it is what it is, as I said. Sure, it's not the best, but at the same time, there are those that quite enjoyed it, like me, and it's all I can say is, it is an okay adaptation, movie adaptation, I should say, of the story of the Alamo. And I'm giving the Alamo, yeah, it's on my mind, and what the heck. I'm giving the 2004 Alamo film 7 out of 10 stars. Yes, 7 out of 10 stars for the Alamo in 2004. And what about you guys? What did you think of the Alamo itself? Do you feel the same way as I do? Did you enjoy it? And who betrayed, those in reality and so on? Everything that I've had to say. And if any of you, because even got to see this in theaters, and, if you watched it on DVD and such, I could go on. And what did you think of my review? Leave comments and give this review video a like, as always. And so, with all that being said, thank you very much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed my review of The Alamo from 2004. More review videos are on the way. They're going to be awesome. Keep looking forward, and I'll see you guys in the next video /review. And stay tuned later tonight, because the next film I'm going to be reviewing is something from DreamWorks, and which being animated. And because the Alamo was something historical, this one DreamWorks animated film has a lot of historical stuff to it, and it's about a dog and his human boy doing some time traveling. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you know what it is that I'm talking about. Stay tuned for that. Take care, happy anniversary to the Alamo, and peace out.